Evening. So tonight we're in Matthew chapter 14. Man, we're going to hear about a lot tonight. Death of John the Baptist, the feeding of the 5,000, Jesus walking on water. Pay so much close attention to this whole chapter. God's got something to say to you tonight, and I want you to hear it. I don't want you to miss it. So let's hear it. The death of John the Baptist. When Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee, heard about Jesus, he said to his advisers, "This must be John the Baptist raised from the dead. That's why he can do such miracles." For Herod had arrested and imprisoned John as a favor to his wife Herodias, the former wife of Herod's brother Philip. John had been telling Herod, "It's against God's law for you to marry her." Herod wanted to kill John, but was afraid of a riot because all the people believed John was a prophet. But at a birthday party for Herodias' daughter performed a dance that greatly pleased him. So he promised a vow to give her anything she wanted. At her mother's urging, the girl said, "I want the head of John the Baptist on a tray." Then the king regretted what he had said, but because the vow had made in front of his guest, he issued the necessary orders. So John was beheaded in the prison. And as his head was brought on a tray and given to the girl, who took it to her mother. Later, John's disciples came for his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus what had happened. Jesus feeds the 5,000. As soon as Jesus heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. But the crowds heard where he was headed and followed on foot from many towns. Jesus saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat, and he had compassion on them and healed their sick. Wow. That evening the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy food for themselves." But Jesus said, "That isn't necessary. You feed them." "But we only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them here," he said. Then he told the people to sit down on the grass. Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up towards heaven, and blessed them. Then, breaking the loaves into pieces, he gave the bread to the disciples, who distributed it among the people. They all ate as much as they wanted, and afterward the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftovers. About 5,000 men were fed that day, in addition to all the women and children. It's a lot of folks. Jesus walks on water. Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake, while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from the land, for a strong wind had risen and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came towards them, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!" But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, I'm here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on water towards Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshipped him. "You really are the Son of God," they exclaimed. After they had crossed the lake, they landed in Gennesaret. When the people recognized Jesus, the news of his arrival spread quickly throughout the whole area, and soon people were bringing all their sick to be healed. They begged him to let the sick touch at least the fringe of his robe, and all who touched him were healed. Mm. Man, that's a lot of powerful scripture right there. So John loses his head, and then Jesus, so grieved, goes to be alone. And what happens then? God sends him 5,000 men and then women and children as well to be healed. Probably, 10, 15, 20,000 people. And he heals all of them, and then he feeds them all. After being so grieved by the loss of his cousin. And then he proves his power and godliness. He is God in the flesh. He has power over the weather, over wind and waves. What more do you need to see? What more can you possibly need to see? And if you recognize that he is Lord, that he is God, what are you going to do with your life about that? Because he's got a lot to say about that. Man, that's a lot to pray about. Go back and read this on your own. And yeah, spend some time in prayer about that. Because wow, man, maybe we got some life changes need to be made. What do you think? Okay. Pray on that. Hope you have a great night. Love you.